Hello, everybody. Dr. Rick Wallace of the Visionetics Institute dropping in for 5 minutes of fire this morning. Give it about another 10 seconds. Let some people drop in, and then I'm going to go ahead and give you what I got this morning. Hopefully, your day has gotten off to an unbelievable start. If it hasn't, you can change that. And it doesn't take a lot of time to change it. You have the power to turn your day around, your week around, your month around, your year around. Anytime that you set your mind to it, you are the master of your fate. You are the controller and the architect of your destiny. It's important for you to understand that you are creating your reality with your thinking, with your thoughts, and the patterns of behavior that we call habits. Those are the things that are leading you down the path that you're traveling. If you're stagnant, if you're moving back, if you're living a life you're not satisfied with, you have the capacity to change that. And you start at the moment you make a decision to do something different. You cannot get different results doing the same thing over and over again. Well, let's go ahead and get started. Let's talk. There are a lot of different reasons and causes that impact or produce the effect of inactivity, procrastination, a lack of success, or however you want to describe being in a place in your life that you're not really truly fulfilled, or you're not optimizing your potential. If you look up at yourself and you see all of this unactualized potential, that's on you. It means that you are not taking action. You are not purposely investing in growth. You are not looking at and orchestrating your life. You are simply sitting back and riding the current, whether it's moving upstream or downstream. And that's why you're where you're at. And why is that? Because we have this illusion of comfort that says when I don't challenge the status quo, when I don't move upstream, when I don't step outside of the box, I take a lesser risk of getting hurt, or getting laughed at, or experiencing failure. Let me tell you something. Failure is a part of success. Failure is the road you travel down to get success. I can tell you this, not only in my life, but in every person that I've studied, every other successful person that I've developed relationships and worked with and talked to, every last one of them will tell you that they've actually failed more than they succeeded. I remember when my mentor was working with me early in life, 19, 20, 21 years old, and he told me, he says, the greatest gift you have is you're not afraid to fail forward. He says, that's what's going to ultimately lead to you being more successful in life than me, is that you have no inhibition about failure. You will fail forward in almost everything that you do. And I asked him to explain that failure thing, because over and over again, you grow up, you hear failure is not an option. Failure is not an option. So the first time you experience failure, you feel, well, maybe I'm just not a part of that population where failure is not an option, because obviously I failed, and you get a misunderstanding. So when he said you fail forward, I'm like, all right, talk to me. Tell me what you mean. He says that you set your goal so high, and in the time frame in which you set it, that it's almost guaranteed that you will never hit it in the time frame that you set it. That technically is considered a failure. But when you look up at the time that you reach that set time and you haven't reached the goal, and you measure your progress from where you started to where you are at that moment, you've moved quite a bit. You didn't hit the goal, but you progressed. You failed forward. And what happens is you just keep getting up, dusting yourself off, and you keep failing until you reach that goal, reach the next goal, reach the next goal. It's hardly ever in the time frame you set, because you refuse to set dwarfed goals. And so failure is a part of that. And so you can't allow failure to keep you in the box. Let me tell you something. All of the things you look at and maybe quietly aspire to, or secretly desire, but you're afraid to mention it to your friends because what they'll say. You don't talk about it because you think people will laugh or you'll be ridiculed. Stop seeking or looking for the approbation or approval and validation of others outside of yourself. Your vision, your dream, your opportunity, your design, your destiny. Nobody else has to validate it. Nobody else has to co-sign it. Nobody else has to sit up and tell you that it's possible. All you need to do is look inside of yourself and start to believe in who you are. Start to believe in the power and potential of your design. And at that moment, you'll start to sense a sense of confidence coming out of you discovering who you are. Most people are stuck because they still haven't discovered who they are. They don't know their purpose. They don't know their why. They can't possibly wrap their head around doing something exceptional, extraordinary, phenomenal, and beyond what most people do, because they believed the definition of what people give them. But let me tell you something. In order to achieve the phenomenal, you got to be willing to step outside of your comfort zone. Outside of your comfort zone is where you are going to get growth. Outside of your comfort zone is where your character will be strengthened, and you will have a more powerful integrity to support that character. See, character is an expression of your values. Integrity is the strength of your character. A lot of people have great values, but they don't have the integrity to push them through and make them stand to those values. So at the right amount of pressure, the right amount of resistance, the right amount of influence, the values go out the window and their character is corrupted. It happens all the time. It is increasing the integrity that supports the character where unbelievable things happen, but you got to step outside of comfort zone to make that happen. You've got to start believing in yourself. I'm gonna tell you a real quick story, then I'll be done. I'm gonna tell you a personal story. You know, my first business was a fitness company. Started that, did great at it. It's still going now. It's evolved into something totally different as I've grown in my understanding and knowledge. I don't do a lot of hands-on anymore, but I do a lot of research, a lot of writing, a lot of program development, a lot of program writing and creations for companies, individuals, things of that nature. But anyway, I've done a lot of things. So I have always loved writing. And I decided in my 30s, okay, I'm finally going to write this book I've been talking about writing since I was a teenager. And I'm going to write it, The Invisible Father, Reversing the Curse of a Fatherless Generation. I was so passionate about what was in that book, not having ever known my father. I decided that I was going to write it, and I wrote it by hand. No typewriter, no keyboard, no computer. I picked up a pen and I grabbed paper and I wrote. I mean, hours at a time. Throughout the night, it was just flowing. I wrote it and I put it together and I was so happy about it. And then I decided, okay, now I got to sit up and I got to type this because I can't send this to a publisher like this. So I typed it, but I wrote it by hand first. Then I typed it and I submitted it to a publisher. First publisher said, it's well written, it's powerful, it's supported by a lot of evidence. The problem is non-fictional books are already hard to sell. This particular audience is not an easy audience to market to. We're not going to get our financiers behind it. I was looking for a small hands-on publisher, and I went, and 3 times I was told you're not going to get the book published. And so I decided I'm not going to accept no for answers. So I'm going to not just self-publish the book. I'm going to open up a publishing house. I'm going to create my own publishing company. And so I started publishing my books. And then here's the thing. Now, remember, I was told by a publishing company that no publishing company would ever take me. I don't put that aside. I've stopped even worrying about what they've said. And I've decided I'm going to do this. I'm doing this. I get to book 15 and I receive a phone call from Itlock Publishing. Itlock Publishing said, hey, we know you're passionate about the miseducation of African-American youth. And we want you to write a book on that. You have a strong understanding of it. We need a book that talks about it and provides solutions. I say, I'm on it. I started it. I submitted. We got it done. We published it. I kept going. I went back to publishing the next book, and I'm working on book number 20 right now. I received an email from the director of operations at the publishing company on yesterday, and okay, what's going on? And I opened it up, and he advised me that they had just received an order, shipped and delivered a bulk shipment of my books to Eastern Washington University, where one of the professors there is going to be using that book, my book, as a part of their curriculum. What if I would have never published The Invisible Father? What if I would have just said, okay, I'll just write blogs, or I'll just publish academic papers, or I'll just stick to what I know I can do, what people have already accepted from me? What if I didn't push through the wall? What if I just sit there and said, this is about as much as I'm going to get out of my writing career? And this is what I'm saying. Um, it is imperative that you be willing to take some discomfort, to take the risk of failing, to take the risk of saying it might not happen in the time frame that I set for myself. But failure is not final until I accept it as such. See, falling down and missing the mark is not failure, not in the truest sense. It's a setback, it's a delay, it's a holdup, it's an obstacle, it's a challenge, but it's not absolute failure until you absolutely accept it as being a failure. As long as you sit up and say, I'm going to try again, I'm going to get up and I'm push, that's where things start to happen. It's outside of your comfort zone that magic takes place. It's the outside of your comfort zone that you start to experience things that most people don't experience. Why? Most people are driven to stay inside their comfort zone because they believe they are safer there. Here's the thing. We live in a world of motion. Everything is in motion, always in motion. So guess what? If you're not moving up, guess where you're moving? There's no static place where you stay. It may seem like you're in a good place. You get to that place, well, cars paid for, or I can easily pay it. I can easily afford my mortgage, or my home's paid for. I really don't have a lot of necessities that aren't being met. I'm good. No, you're not. Because see, the thing is, if you're not advancing, you're moving backwards. So you're either in a mode of creation or a mode of disintegration. You are always in one of those two places. You're either creating something for yourself or you're slowly disintegrating. And some of you are disintegrating rapidly because you are not engaging your life. You are letting life happen to you without understanding that your inactivity is the cause of your situation. You have to look at your situation, decide what you want, get a clear picture of what you want, and take action. Apply massive effort, massive action, massive intent, and then ride it out until the wheels fall off. Stop looking to other people to tell you what you can do. Stop asking people, do you think it'll work? Stop worrying about the random opinion of the minimal minded. You sit up and decide, I'm going to do something great. It ain't that many people out there going to be able to see that because ain't that many people doing it. I dare you to rise up and start to pursue the teasers at the back of your mind that pop up in the least expected times. And you have trained yourself to push them back because they are not realistic. It ain't got to be realistic. If it's realistic, then everybody's doing it. It's average, it's mediocre. It's not going to get you where you're trying to go. Go after those things that make you feel uncomfortable. I dare you. I dare you to chase that. Chase the unachievable until it becomes achievable. That's in your hands. That's in your power. That's something you can decide whether it's done, whether it's capable of being done. Like I said, I could have easily stood up and said, well, I presented this book to 3 publishers. All of them told me the exact same thing. Not only is The Invisible Father, Reversing the Curse of a Fatherless Generation, still selling years later, but I eventually get a publisher who approached me. I didn't approach, they approached me and asked me to write the book. And now that book is being used to teach students at the university level. That's impact. That should be your ultimate goal. How am I going to use what I'm doing to impact the world? And at the same time, get paid. It all ties in together. But you've got to be willing to get out of your comfort zone. That's it. I've gone over as usual, but you guys start living, start dreaming, start being what it is that you conceive. If you can conceive it in your mind, that's God's evidence that it's possible. That's the only cosign you need, is that you can see it in your mind. That very thing tells you it's possible. You don't need anybody else to cosign it. Go make it happen. Get out there and happen. The link to my latest book, Critical Mass, is in the post section of this video. Also, if you want to work with me directly, there's some information on that allow you to do that, whatever it is. But what you've got to do You've got to make a decision to do some things differently, to take some chances, to take some risks, to invest in yourself. You owe yourself so much more than you're giving yourself right now. Don't. There's going to be enough people in this world that are going to try to cheat you and take things from you. You don't need to do it yourself. That being said, I'm out of here. I encourage you to live life on full so that you leave this place on E. That's what I'm going to do. I am going to die on E. I challenge you to do the same thing. I'm out of here. Peace.